Hello. Hello? Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Well, first, I would like to thank you, all of you, to be here today. We really appreciate that you come and to listen to this class. And I'm 100% sure that we're going to increase our portfolios after we finish with this class. And also to Henry Salazar and all his team to come here. And to our sponsors, Icor Lending and Green Forest, for the delicious food that we just ate. I would like to first introduce to Henry. I have a little bio about you, so I would like to read, and just so everybody knows a little about who you are. So Henry Salazar is an RE broker and lender for 20 years, and he is a sole proprietor. His passion for education landed him in a managing role with the prestigious law office in Nick Alden and Beverly Hills, where civil litigations and appeals cases were the specialty. He began pursuing a career in analytical chemistry and eventually partnered up with PhD in engineering and molecular quantum INC. He was the CEO for the company where the novel separation technology was created. When SB9 was passed, he knew that he was an amazing opportunity for California homeowners and immediately began assembling a team to help homeowners navigate to SB9. His team is comprised of civil and structural engineering, along with architects and general contractors, and together they're able to provide the A to the C solution for SB9. Let's welcome Henry Salazar.
Okay, look, make sure. What's going on here? Okay. That's not it. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Nope. Okay, it doesn't work with that. Yeah, it absorbs it into that background. It's okay. Guys, welcome to our SB9 workshop. I want to thank Icor Lending and Sonia for helping put this function together. Before I begin, she gave a little background. I just wanted you guys to understand that we have been in the real estate business a long time. We were able to get into analytical chemistry law for a good 6 years. I thought we should become an attorney, but a lot of this kind of prepared us for what happened with SB9. And I'm going to give a little overview of what SB9 is, how it can impact your customers, your families and friends, and then I'm going to explain how we can work together to help you guys and the clients. So the problem is that the Zoom is blocking my video. It's okay. I think we're okay. So RH Engineering and Development is our company. This is. Can you just minimize? You can minimize the Zoom. Oh, I can? I thought I had to leave it up. Yeah, you can go on the side, on the right side. Okay, it's out of the way now. Are they okay? Let me just. If somebody's on Zoom, they can check. Yeah, okay. So this is our setup. I'm Henry. We have Rhett Pasquale out here. Robert Duran is our sales manager. We have Robert Vaughn as our marketing and training. Our CTO, I'm not sure if he's here yet. And our general contractor, one of our general contractors is Rudy Morales. I'm going to go into the different facets that is SB9. And I'll tell you, it is it's exciting for homeowners, but just like the ADU laws, most of you guys are aware that ADUs have been around for about 6-7 years. And just now people are starting to become aware of it. Some of you guys are familiar with some of the CalHAFA grants that are available for ADUs. We're going to explain how we incorporate that into what we're doing as well. Okay. All right. So who we are. We're a general contractor and consulting company with over 30 years of building. We have internal engineers and architects. We utilize technology to manage business for scaling and transparency. And I'll touch on that because that's really, really important. Imagine, you know, the old way of doing construction, the foreman's got to be on site. You know, if you're not there, you feel like they're not getting the work done, things like that. Well, technology kind of helps with that portion. The customer can literally be on vacation in Cancun, and they can see the daily progress that is being done on their home. Okay, that's through the use of technology. That's why I think technology is such a big, important part of this. What we're trying to accomplish is maximize the rental income potential of any size lot. Okay, all right, let's begin. Okay, so the Senate Bill 9 was actually passed last year, and it became, it took effect January 1st. Okay, about half of the cities so far that we've talked to have adopted their own ordinance. Okay, and those that have not are having to use the state's guidelines on what can be allowed for SB9. Okay, so quick question, what do you think? The cities that have an ordinance or the cities that do not have an ordinance, which ones do you think are easier to work with? Don't? Do? Don't? So one thing's for certain, they cannot make it more difficult by making their own ordinance. Okay, there were some cities in the last minute of December of 2021 that were having their emergency hearings with their council members, and they passed an ordinance so they could have their own overlays. But again, it could not be more difficult. Okay, they couldn't make it more difficult. So the answer is, it's the cities that don't have an ordinance is technically easier because the guidelines are right there at the Senate Bill 9.gov site. But the cities that have an ordinance are actually really easy to work with as well. So they just have some additional overlays, that's all. It's not a big deal. Okay, so do we understand why we passed SB9?
To help with the housing shortage that we've been facing.
Absolutely, for both properties that need to sell as well as rentals. Has anyone seen the rental market recently? The rents are outrageous, right? So this is one way to assist. They believe that Senate Bill 9 can assist with the creation of about 9,000 additional units, a combination of both rentals as well as properties for sale. Okay, and we see this as the gold rush. Okay, similar to the gold rush of the early California days. Why do you think that is? Here's my question. The difference between the gold rush back then and today is one thing. We know where the gold is. Guess where that is? Their property. If they have the lot, then they stand to benefit greatly. Okay, so let's explain why exactly. Okay, so the number one thing that comes up on the government site for SB9 is that the first thing in red, it provides homeowners the option to build intergenerational wealth. That's going to be a common theme that I'm going to be saying over and over again. Okay, so does everyone understand what intergenerational wealth means? That means you're creating wealth for generations beyond what you created. Okay, and again, here's the definition. So one of the best things about this is, besides cities adopting an ordinance or not, it comes with ministerial approval. So ministerial approval simply means has anyone ever had to do a variance on a particular zone, right? Because what you're trying to build, trying to do, it doesn't fit. How easy is that?
Hard, depending what city.
Absolutely, right? Because you're changing the zone. And anytime you change a zone, it sometimes requires approval by the city council. It sometimes requires emergency hearings, and sometimes it requires an update of the general plan, which is, I mean, they only update general plans every 10, 20 years at times. Okay, so what this did is that instead of just doing it through the hearings, they set out so that it can be done off of a checklist. Is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Good. Then we can approve it and stamp it and push it through. Okay, that's what it means. So it's much faster to do a subdivision. Okay, one of the
And isn't it a little bit more difficult if you're doing coastal properties? You have to get the state.
Oh,
beach.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So there are restrictions that I'm going to be discussing that. I don't know if that's blocking it there, but okay, so we know of people who've been doing an ADU for the past 12 months just to try and get their plans approved. Okay, 12 months later, their plans aren't even approved. Well, you definitely can't build if your plans are not approved yet. Okay, and that is for a number of reasons, but typically a build under SB9 is 5 times faster than an ADU. Okay, so that's really, really important. Okay, especially if you want to accomplish this very quickly. Okay. Okay, so it does overlap with the existing ADU and junior ADU laws to help maximize the number of units that can be built. So there's existing ADU and junior ADU laws. The SB9 overlaps with them to help create housing. Basically, that's the whole spirit of this, is to help promote and create housing.
Expedite the process.
It does. So here's a great example. Under the current ADU laws, you have to go off of current zoning rules. Whatever exists, that's what you're stuck with. So if you're going to build an ADU with a junior ADU and it's a 1,200 square foot ADU, you have to provide parking. You have to provide, meet the setback requirements, all the things that apply. With SB9, we're able to do things that, for example, we can tear out the garage and add 2 units there instead. So we don't need to provide parking. We don't need to provide a lot. Some of the setbacks are much easier. There's more flexibility, again, in the spirit to provide more housing, right? Okay, it must be in an urban area or urban cluster as defined by the Census Bureau. Okay. Most of our areas are all considered urban or urban cluster. Okay, it's really just defined as an urban area is where there's 50,000 population or more. An urban cluster is about 2,500 people, between 2,500 and 50,000 people. That's considered an urban cluster as well. So for the cities that don't have an ordinance, they're looking at the definition of an urban area and urban cluster as well. So if it's zoned R1, then that technically qualifies it, unless it's not in an urban area or an urban cluster, then it wouldn't be eligible for SB9. Okay, so this is the big one. Homes that are zoned R1 or single family dwelling can now have, instead of just one home, like as designated in R1, you can have up to 3 additional structures on the property. 3 additional structures on the property. That's massive. That is huge in a lot of different ways, okay, which I'm going to get into, okay? So there's a couple of ways that can be done. Most people, even a lot of the cities that we talk to, believe SB9, oh, that's just lot split. That just means lot split. No, it does not, okay? And I'm going to explain in the next slides why that is. But if you don't do a lot split, like I said, you can build 3 additional units. I'm careful with the words that I'm using. A unit is defined as something, an ADU has its own thing, and a junior ADU is its own thing. That's why I said structures in the beginning, okay? So if you have an existing home on a property, you can add an additional unit, which is considered a single family dwelling, an ADU and a junior ADU. Now, just because it says, you look at a property, it says R1 zoning, That doesn't mean it necessarily qualifies. Many cities have their own definitions of what that is. Bellflower is a great example. They have BF, R1, but they just happen to throw in a 0.6 in there. And that 0.6 means it's low density, meaning it's not SB9 eligible. So they have in their map, they have something that they define as single family dwelling, which all of those in that are eligible for SB9. Okay, and if you're familiar with Bellflower, you have some really big lots in Bellflower that could benefit from this. Okay, so it's not just the R1. Compton is a great example. Certain parts of Compton fall under LA County. So it's not just R1. We have A1 in Compton, and under LA County, A1 and R1 are the same thing. So those are eligible for SB9 builds. Okay. So in case they decide to do a lot split, okay, which is a subdivision, then they are able to build a duplex on the additional lot that they split and create. Okay. Yes, sir.
What's the JADU?
Oh, great question. So it is just a junior ADU, and it's basically defined as it's a smaller structure. It needs to be it can be attached or detached, but for the most part, some cities require that the junior ADU be part of the existing footprint of the home. So if the home is 1,500 square feet, then we can carve out part of that so that can be a junior ADU. It's cheaper because it can use the existing utilities of the home, whereas opposed to a junior ADU can be attached, but usually they're detached. They have their own utilities. And
convert a garage and remodel that.
Mhm. It could be depending on the size and things, but yes. Okay, so if they did a lot split, obviously you now have 2 parcels with 2 units, and they could sell that additional structures on the new lot. Okay, so we're going to have a Q&A at the end. I'm going to be covering a lot, and you're probably going to have your questions answered through this presentation. Okay. Okay. So this is not for investors, guys. This is for owner-occupied principal residences. Okay. This is not for your investors. We've been called by so many investors. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. Look, there's workarounds. Okay. But you pretty much have to add somebody to title. They have to live in the property. So however you want to handle that, you can, just to be compliant. But this is for principal residents, not investors. Okay. And probably one of the best, and they have to live in the property for the next 3 years. Certain cities will add some deed restrictions, meaning, so we'll let you do this, but you have to make one of the units affordable housing. Okay. Which is fine, because affordable housing is still a lot of money in rent when you consider what's not affordable. Okay, so it still works. Okay, but the flexibility in the build is probably one of the most important things, because we can do flag lots, we can demo the garage, we can take out parts of the existing home to split the lot. Okay, there's a lot of different things we can do. Okay, and it gives us a lot of flexibility. The setbacks is a big one. It's a really, really big one. And again, the ease of the setbacks, no parking, height, the lot coverage, they're very, very flexible. Here's an important one. If you know people who have an illegal build on their property, right? We can make it legal through SB9. That's huge. That is huge. Okay. What's that? It could. Now there are exceptions. If they're not built right, they still need to be torn down. Right. But there are some properties that are built very well, and those we could probably still work with. Okay, so here are some of the restrictions, okay, that apply. Homes can't be in historic zones. It's not that they can't be, it'll just be a little bit more difficult to accomplish that. Okay. They cannot be in high fire hazard safety zones. They can't be farmlands, wetlands, habitat for protected species. There's a whole list. I just listed the more common ones. Okay. And again, no, sure. Yes, it can work with rent control, but you cannot evict. Remember, if it's rent control and you're renting those, then that's probably not an SB9 project, right? Because you're not living there.
Yeah.
Remember that, not for investors, right? Okay. But I got some great news coming. So for investors, okay? But for now, let's look at what this means. Okay. So what we're looking at is an existing vacant lot, okay, that somebody bought. And so I'm looking at this first slide here on the your guys' left. You can build 2 units, okay? So if it was vacant and it fell under the R1 or single family dwelling, you can have 2 units. You can also build an ADU and a junior ADU for a total of up to 4 structures, just like in the picture there, right? And or you can split the lot, right, and have a duplex on one side and a duplex on the other. Not exactly a duplex. A duplex on one side and a junior ADU and ADU on the other. Well, it's more than that, okay? So this is more typical. This column B, okay, you have your single family home, that's typical. And so again, with ADU, you can add 2 units. So let me come over here. Okay. So you have your existing home, right? You can add an additional unit on one lot. Okay, so now you have 2 units, right? Plus an ADU and a junior ADU. Make sense? Okay. You can also split that lot. So that house, you add a unit back there, and over here you can add a duplex. But technically, okay, and with a lot of cities, we're noticing that they allow this. According to SB9, on any lot, okay, its own lot, you can have how much? To 4 units, right? 2 regular units, which is a 2 single family dwellings. One of them is the principal residence, and a junior ADU and ADU and a junior ADU. So technically here, where we split the lot and the lot is large enough, you can add the 2 units plus an ADU and a junior ADU. That makes sense? Over here, you could technically have 2 units plus an ADU and a junior ADU. So if somebody has a really large lot, you could foreseeably add up to 8 structures on the property. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. So over here, you have a home, a single family dwelling, plus they already added an ADU, right? Which is a lot of people. A lot of people have built an ADU. Well, they can still add an additional unit and a junior ADU, right? Because that's what the law allows on one lot, okay? Let's come back here. Okay, so if you have a lot that has a single family and an ADU and a junior ADU, guess what? What's missing? A unit, another unit, right? So that's what that's saying. So this already has a single family dwelling, right? So this is 1 unit plus an ADU and a junior ADU, which means you can add an additional unit. Okay, again, has to fit in that size. So so I guess I will get into the size. The size varies, okay? The smallest a lot can be split into is 1,200 square feet. Well, shoot, what can you build on a 1,200 square foot lot? Maybe a tiny home, you know, 300 square foot home, they have them. If you've been to Huntington Beach or Newport, some of those lots are really small. They're like 2,800 square feet, but they go up 4 stories, right? So you can do quite a bit. Certain cities have preferences as to what is the right size. And some of them begin about 6,000 square feet, 5,500 square feet to do an actual lot split. But just because you can do a lot split doesn't necessarily mean that's the best idea, okay? Because there are setbacks. So if you have a a 6,000 square foot lot and you split it in half, so it's 3,000 and 3,000, well, you're going to be able to add the units, but they're going to be a little smaller, right? Because you have to have setbacks all the way around, right? So when we meet with customers, we want to identify what is the highest and best use of adding units to their property. Well, we do a feasibility study to determine that, okay? But oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought on that. On the size.
You do some type of thing where you guys do a
Oh,
survey.
well, no, right. So we do a feasibility study, but we had a scenario in Santa Ana, for example, that what we thought lot split would make sense. After going back and forth with the city, we realized that no, he wanted to maximize the number of not only units, but that they would be a 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 1-bedroom. If we would have done a lot split, they would have been all basically 1-bedrooms because the lot was relatively small. So by not doing a lot split, we were able to create 3 units that were large in size: a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and then a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Does that make sense? So sometimes that won't necessarily be what's best. If a customer says, I want to split the lot because I think my lot will be I will have more value by having an additional lot in LA County, they're not wrong. And sometimes that does make sense. Okay, so if their intention is to hold the property for a long time, build additional units and have all this rental income and pass that on to their children, perfect. Then they don't need to do a lot split. But if they would like to build a duplex and sell it and cash out, then a lot split makes sense. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, here's an example. I'll go through this one quickly. This is City of Long Beach, for example. The first allows you to build on a vacant lot the 2 units, right? Unit 1 and Unit 2. Then you can also build a single family dwelling with an SB9 unit. Again, 2 units, right, on 1 lot. And this middle one here, for example, this just shows the difference between an attached unit and a detached unit. This would be the maximum. You could build, they already have a home in a single family dwelling, and then you can do an SB9 build, a unit, an ADU, and a junior ADU. Notice that the junior ADU was carved into the existing footprint of the home, but that's how we're able to create an additional unit. Okay. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So this is what a typical neighborhood may look like in the near future. Okay, you have a bunch of SFRs over here on the left, and over here there's a SB10 unit apartment house, and then this one did a lot split and did 2 duplexes and ADUs. This one did a SB9 with a duplex, a junior ADU, and ADU. This one has a SB10 and so forth. You can see that there's going to be more homes. So one of your questions should be, looking at this is, I'm trying to pry that from you guys. Based on this image here, what should your question be?
How many units can you build in 1 lot?
Okay, that sure.
I just need
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm assuming you guys already know, but what the hell is SB10? I mean, you guys already know what that is? Because maybe I'm wrong and you guys already know that. But my question is, what the heck is this? Okay, remember when I said that there's going to be some investor programs available? Okay, SB9 is not for them. SB10 is coming down the line, and we may have an approval here in the next year or so. Okay, what that means is that same R1 can now have 10 units on it. That's what that means. That again, they're still defining those things, but again, just to create more housing. Okay, all right. No reason to get all excited about SB10 just yet, but this is to show you an example of what it could potentially look like.
Is it
Okay.
early to ask how is it gonna affect the normal homeowners that only have their 1 house? How is their value gonna get affected, having all these units from them?
It's not even allowed yet, so we're not going to speculate on that because,
Can't compare it in a party like.
yeah.
That's on your next one, but that one you.
When that passes, we'll be ready for it. We are preparing for that, okay? Because we do have a lot of investors that would benefit from ourselves included, obviously,
Yes.
for something like that. Okay, and that is for just to help create more housing because we are very, very short. Okay, this is just an example of some of the configurations. This is a split down the middle. This is a flag lot. It looks like a flag, right? So the house is in the front. This driveway is made into an easement, and this is the unit in the back, and that is what could be sold as its own separate property. Okay, so there's different ways to configure. It doesn't have to just be split down the middle. Okay. Okay, some of the key points of SB9. Again, intergenerational wealth. It's so important, and I'll be touching that on the next slide. The flexibility of the rules, the setbacks, the parking, the options to create a combination of a unit, an ADU, or a junior ADU, the ministerial approvals. You know, that's just so much faster to get it accomplished. And it definitely creates more equity and passive income. How exactly? Let's show you. All right, so this is why we believe that realtors are such an important part to this. Realtors know a lot of homeowners, past, present, clients, as well as friends and family. Realtors and lenders are a source of trusted information. I know clients that will not buy a car, let alone furniture sometimes, without first contacting their realtor. Okay, that's how much trust is built between the realtor and the homeowner. Okay, realtors can help maximize a property's rental income potential, obviously by working with us, one of the best options. And one of the benefits for those that want to do a lot split is you creating the potential listing for those that want to sell those units. Okay, so that would be a listing for yourself. So again, aside from homeowners, realtors and lenders stand to benefit the most. Okay, so story time. All right. In the early 1900s, there was a lot of expansion westward, and a lot of areas were designated as developments, but they had deed restrictions. Are you guys familiar with some of these deed restrictions? Related to, yes, so this new community here that we're building, no Blacks, no minorities, no Jews, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And what were some of the benefits to those people that were able to take that risk and buy a home 2 to 5 generations later? You guys know? Just think about it. If you bought a property 60 years ago, equity is a big one, right? What did people do with that equity that was created by making that investment early on? Of course, put kids through college, you know, take money out, buy more properties, because if this did it, you know, having more rental properties would create that. So all of that was given to those that took that risk at that time. Okay, but it took them, you know, 2 to 5 generations to accomplish that. Okay, well, guess what, guys? SB9 is the opportunity to, it's like the great equalizer. Okay, it takes a family who owns an existing lot, a property with a decent sized lot, and doesn't have to be big. I mean, working with some lots that are 4,500 square feet, and we're still adding a lot of units. Okay, but it basically gives them that opportunity to have many units that would normally take generations before they can acquire that, but they can have that all within the next 12 months. That's huge. That's huge. Who wouldn't want to benefit from something like that? If you add 3 additional structures on your lot, you're adding way more equity. You're now having passive income, right? I mean, you're getting rental income, right? And it should be enough that you don't longer have that mortgage any longer because the rents are covering it. Well, what kind of benefit would that be to your clients, to your family, if they don't have to have that payment to worry about? That they have great tenants and they're always paying, and that money that they receive is helping out their family so that they don't have to necessarily, you know, come out of pocket to pay their rent. I mean, their mortgage. That's huge. That's really, really big. That's kind of what this means, okay? So our objective is to try and close that gap to help anyone who is a homeowner maximize their rental income potential of their lot, okay? And we do that through a number of studies, a lot of negotiations with the city back and forth. So it is, we're super passionate about this portion, okay? The intergenerational wealth. We don't need to wait. We don't need to wait 6 years like the ADU laws that have been around, but no, not everyone is taking advantage of it, okay? It's now more tangible than ever before, okay? Especially with some financing or grant money available through CalHAFA, okay? We're partnering to help a lot of our clients get some of that money to help with some of that soft costs. I mean, it's not just soft costs. It can go towards build. It can go towards purchasing a property and things like that. There's a number of things that money can be used for. All right.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I had a client that was like, I want to go back to work. I want to travel. I want to relax. So she fixed her garage. And she's like, Miriam, my rent's like, my mortgage is $850 a month. I charge $800. I only pay $50 and I'm traveling. I'm like, wow, that was a great thing that she did because she rehabbed her garage. She only paid $50.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
And now if they had 2 more units like that,
she will be having money for travel.
cash flow, absolutely. And that's important. Thank you for sharing that. But that's something that we see pretty regularly. And so it's very exciting for us to share this, particularly with the Latin population. You know, I'm very passionate of helping anybody that's a homeowner. But with our people, it feels like education is sometimes lacking. And so they need people like realtors and lenders to help educate them and show them how this is possible and how they can benefit from it. Okay, this is why we're very thankful to be able to share this with you guys. Okay, so how do we work with clients? Okay, so we eventually end up doing a site visit, or we can do a Zoom call with the customers initially, but we will have to do a site visit. Our general contractors will do a site visit, make sure that we can accomplish, and this is the tangible task of adding units. One of the first things we do is a survey and a feasibility study. Okay, so what we do is we have the site measured and any slopes and anything that's part of it. And then we draft about 5 or 6 different sets of plans. Okay, again, this is not something for the customer yet. Okay, we send that to the city and start engaging them on SB9 to see what is possible. How can we get 3 additional structures on their property? Okay, and they'll come back and say, well, out of these, maybe number 2 and 3 design will work. And those are the plans that then we, our architects will start drafting a 3D rendering of what it will look like when it's finished. And then the customer will pick which of the configurations that they want. And those are the plans that get submitted and approved. That in itself is an arduous task. It is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. You're dealing with political opinions of planners. It shouldn't matter, right? But you're dealing with a lot of different understandings of what the law says and what is actually allowed. Okay, so like I say, it's not just, oh, it's R1, it's a go. No, there's a lot that needs to be done to realize that is actually something that's feasible. Okay, so then we submit the plans to the city. Once we get the final plans approved, that's a big deal, right? Because now those plans can be bid out for construction, okay, and build. And so then we can build the units. The cost can vary on a lot of different things. But remember, most of these, for the most part, are rental properties. So the builds are more standard. There's not as much customization, which can keep the cost low for the customer. The type of materials that they select to use will keep the cost low as well, okay? All right, so how can realtors work with us and how they can get started? Well, hopefully I'm getting you guys a little bit excited and giddy to go reach out to your family, friends, past clients, and you want to start talking to them about SB9, what it means. We have some flyers out here that are English and Spanish that can give you some basic information, but it is a tremendous, tremendous benefit. We do an analysis with the customer as well, and we show them what is possible in terms of approximate rental income. Even with the higher rates that we're seeing right now, it still makes a lot of sense to do it. Okay, so what typically happens is you reach out to your customer, you get them excited, they want to know more about it. So you call our office, and one of our home improvement consultants will confirm a date to meet with the customer. You attend with the customer and our home improvement consultants, and customer signs up because they're going to see the benefit for sure. Yes, that one too. So we have a QR code out there, which is a digital flyer in both English and Spanish as well, that you can just text and email to your customers as well. So be sure to get the QR code on there and put it on your phone. And then the realtor gets paid. I didn't tell you guys. We pay you guys as well. We pay nice little finder's fees for this. Okay, so let's see what that works out to. How does that happen? How are we working with realtors and helping them make some additional money? Well, here's one. Financing has to take place for us to begin, right? To begin their feasibility study, to begin surveys and their plans. And customers need financing. There's not a lot of construction financing available, okay, outside of FHA and things like that. Okay, there's really, really limited funds. Okay, it wasn't until recently that Cal HAFA came out with the grant program, and at first it was thought that it was tied to an existing mortgage. In other words, you had to get approved by them first. If somebody had a 2.5% rate, doesn't matter. They have to be in first position, so they're getting rid of that mortgage in order to get that grant. They have waived all of that. They've said no, we'll work with any scenario to make it possible for the people to get their grant money for that. So that's huge. Okay, it's very, very helpful.
I'm confused with that.
Yes.
Because you say that you have to be on it for 3 years.
Yes.
So how did you get that grant after 3 years? Do you solicitate to CAFA?
No. It's done throughout the process. So when a customer wants to begin, they usually have to take a course first, like any nonprofit requires, like home buyer education and things like that. But the money becomes available. It goes to like an escrow account. So this working with this nonprofit that is one of those that are designated to be able to receive the invoices from the construction companies, from the engineers or the architects, and they distribute like construction funds are done through, yes, like 203Ks, exactly. Yeah, but again, it's every scenario is completely different. You need to get financing. Okay, so as a construction company, we have home improvement loans, completely separate than conventional or mortgages that we're familiar with. The financing that we're able to obtain them is pretty amazing, even though they just restricted it a little bit. There, my understanding is they're going to be opening it up again, but it's a 10-year, 10% rate that is no payment for 12 months. No, and if we pay it off within 12 months, 0 interest was assessed to the customer. It's unsecured, so it's not tied to the property. It's like a credit card. And it's stated income. Okay, so when we say that we can get somebody 100% financing from A to Z, we can get somebody, anybody that owns a property, no matter the equity position, no matter their LTV, okay, we can get financing so that they can build as many units as possible with nothing out of pocket from day one to the very end until the tenants are in the home paying the rent. Okay. Yeah, so it's I'm sorry. Probably. I mean, it's just fun. Reverse mortgage is going to be its own thing because there's a couple of ways to tap into that. So like I said here, but I want to answer your question as well. The max loan amount. So at the under stated income is 55,000, which at least gets almost all of the, if not all of the soft costs to get their plans approved. Once plans are approved, then it's easy to get them private money or some money to build the actual units. Okay, so when we do it and they use our financing, it's one loan to take care of the soft cost portion, kind of like the grant of 40,000. If they're able to get the grant, even better, right? Because then they can use that money towards construction instead. But CalHAFA and nobody cares how a customer gets their money to build. They just want them to be able to access whatever money possible to accomplish that build. With our private money guys, as long as we have approved plans, they will give us the construction money to build, and there will be no payments to the customer during that time. Because what happens if the customer decides to, cash out money from their home to build? What happens the following month? They've got to pay, right? And if they could barely afford it, as it was, now they're adding $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 additional. That's going to make the payment go up. With the current interest rates, it's going to be a much higher payment, and they may not be able to sustain it until the construction is done. So we make it so that those things are covered, so that customer doesn't have to worry about anything until the end. And at the end, once the construction is built, then it's easy to qualify full doc, because the rental income will debt service the loan, okay? And then it's just a refinance to pay off the construction loan as well as the home improvement loan. Does that make sense? Absolutely. Yes. Make sure you do that. Yes. Yes. Well, no. So the grant is 40, and if we can use that, then that's free money. So
Let's just say, what is it on CalHAFA side, so it'll be 55,000 max, right?
Mhm.
That's to get everything approved, and then we do the construction.
Yes.
loan, So it's two separate.
yes, but no payment on those until it's done. Okay, once it's done, then it's a refinance. No. CalHAFA has its own separate grant.
Also on the top of that.
Yes. We have home improvement loans that full doc can go to $100,000. Okay, so that is available. It used to be $500,000. It used to be $200,000 stated. Okay, but they've had to change their rules a little bit. What's that?
I'm sorry, how come we didn't know you before?
Yeah. Well, because I was in science, and that's something that we do full time as well. Yes.
What's the minimum practice for that? For the private lending?
Yeah. Oh, the private lending, none, because it's asset based. Yeah. It's asset based, but the home improvement loan, it's anywhere from, gosh, they don't really have like traditional underwriting at all. Okay, it's roughly, we've seen people get approved at 660 up to 740, but they don't actually pull the credit. It's a soft pull, so we don't actually get to see a credit bureau or anything like that. They just do this portal. Literally in 2 or 3 minutes, they get approved. We send them loan documents, they DocuSign, and it's done. And funds are wired within about 48 hours. So it's really fast to get started. Yes.
Okay, no, I'm confused right now. So that means that they have to qualify for getting that loan to have the construction? Or
Yeah. No. To do the soft cost. We're talking about the beginning. At the very beginning, you've got to get started. You can either get the grant from CalHAFA,
Either.
or they can have, maybe they have their own money. They have, oh, we have money, so we're ready to pay, and no problem. So client obtains financing, or we can provide 100% financing. Some customers already have their money. Okay.
So that's for the soft cost for the permits.
Well, yes, you have to get that approved first, because without that, nobody can give you a bid on what can be built.
Company finance.
Yes, we can help finance that portion. Okay.
Or the company, they give you the grant.
Yes,
And you apply
but
for
you have to
that.
go through, yes, there's a process, but yes, but it can be used. It can be used. So let's say you need to build 3 separate structures, right? Because your lot permits it. Okay, well, we may need the $40,000 to do the plans for maybe 1 or 2 of the structures. And then they'll need the this other home improvement money to finalize their plans or start using that towards the construction cost as well. So again, doesn't really matter how, they just need to get the funds to be able to. So it's not our responsibility to get them financing, but we have financing for them. But it's on the customer to get their financing. If you can provide that, awesome. If you can't, no problem, because none of our programs require very much underwriting. So that's possible. It could work, even with minimal down payment, like an FHA purchase or something like that. It is totally possible, because whatever you build, let's say the cost of construction is $350 a square foot, which is a little on the high side. But let's say it's $350. Okay, in many areas, including let's say Downey. Okay, what is the price of a home selling for right now? Price per square foot? How many people are realtors here?
750.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ray. I guess you know this, right? Okay. And let's give him a gold star. I need that's a great answer. Thank you for knowing that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's just say it's for easy math. Let's just say it's 700. Okay. So what are you doing here? You're building, let's say 1,000 square foot ADU, right? It's costing you $350,000 to build, but now it's now worth 700 or more, right? See how much equity you created by doing that? You're in a great position. Okay. And I have a little worksheet that kind of shows that, but let's not miss this part as well. Okay, we have the ability to give compensation for finder's fees for you that bring us customers. Okay, and it's to the tune roughly of about $5,000 per customer. And I know that all of you guys have at least a couple of people that would benefit from this immediately, right? Okay.
So when would you get that compensation?
Usually within a couple of days. Usually within a couple of days.
When they sign up.
Yeah, as soon as they sign up and start either financing with us or they pay the fees themselves, then that's when we pay.
And I'm sure
So it's
you
pretty
guys
quick.
Give the customers, the clients, a breakdown.
Of course,
of
it's
everything,
required.
all the-
Yes.
One question.
Yes.
Is that only realtors that can refer?
No,
you?
anybody,
Okay.
anybody,
I
realtors,
understand
lenders,
people too.
financial people,
All right.
everybody and
That's the
anybody.
one that asked me about this weekend.
Oh, really?
They're interested in renting their garage, but they need the funding.
Yes,
So then I give this contact.
yes, of course. Be happy to. Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm assuming referral fees are only available or payable to realtors.
No, that's what she just asked. Yes, yeah. Yeah.
I got it, okay.
Yeah. Now, there are opportunities. Thank you. Yeah. It's getting a little good. There are opportunities to create for a realtor to become and get their own home improvement salesperson license, which is kind of like a realtor license that hangs under a broker. Okay, and that's a thing. And so there are commissions paid through that as well.
How can we find more
And that's really simple to do. Really, really simple. I'm
How
sorry.
can we find more about that?
By contacting us and we'll let you know how to do that.
I had a question on the last slide, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
After the 12 months, when the construction's done and the loan is due, does the borrower have to refinance their existing loan, or can they, if the equity is there, can they just pay it off with second?
Yeah, of course. They can pay it off with just a second. I mean, some people have a 2%,
Exactly.
2.5% first. However, it depends on the loan to value, because if we are going into recession, who would want to be in second position on any property? Not many.
But the LTV will be increased by,
It
by the new property.
it would. Unfortunately, our investors know that, and that's kind of a hedge against recession, creating additional equity in construction and rental income. So it's a win-win scenario for the most part for everyone all the way across. Yes,
Yeah, I've been raising my hand.
I'm
like
sorry,
every time.
I'm sorry, I'm,
But they scream their
You're in the
questions.
balcony, you're in the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This program is for owner occupied only. I have a client. She acquired her house with her two sisters through probate.